How's the concert going for you so far?
Well, I think it's going quite well, actually. It's just that, I'm so unwell. So, I'm not feeling so great. What are you grinning about?
I'm grinning at you. I mean, you're at this
I
hype.
feel awful and you're grinning.
Now, you've taken turns where you do comedic roles, and you also do these offbeat films, like, Actor Saxena, and your recent one being Cyrus. Now, is this something where you feel like, your audience might not go with everything that you're doing?
No, I mean, that's not really something I've really thought about. I think sometimes the more successful you get, the more wary you can get with all these things. I mean, and when you're not so worried about how successful you are, then the decisions are kind of a little more instinctive, and just based on things you'd like to do, just in order to be a little varied in your body of work. And the chances are, if you do that people watching also are entertained in a slightly varied way.
What do you prefer? Do you prefer doing your comedic roles, or do you prefer those offbeat type of movies?
Well, I think one without the other is a bit flat, I mean, if it was just offbeat, then I think that would be just a little weird. And if it was just comedy, then that would be a little, it would feel a little somehow small, or other people give you the feeling that I think it's a great thing to be able to make people laugh.
Right.
And it's really important to not really have an ego about that. But it's much easier not to have an ego about that and not be worried about being seen as someone funny if you can do other things, like some more serious stuff.
Now, you've had scripts being thrown at you in a way. Now, Sholay was one that was thrown at you, but the rumor has it that you turned down the role of Amitabh Bachchan. Is that true, or?
Yeah, but I mean, that sounds a bit more dramatic than it was. Because I don't think there can be another Amitabh Bachchan in Sholay. I mean, that's one thing that, aside from my... on the other hand, I think Ram Gopal Varma is a great filmmaker, and I'm sure he'll do something really cool with this. And it's just that I didn't have time. I mean, I was doing Vishal Bhardwaj's Othello, which is also a really interesting part for me. I mean, that's like set in the Western UP mafia, political mafia of India, and it's a pretty direct adaptation of Othello. So that's wild.
Now, I know that's supposed to be one of the biggest films coming out. What's that like? I mean, just going through all that and getting ready for something like that to come out.
Well, I mean, crazy. I think it's like one of the first films that's bridged this gap between so-called kind of, NSD and theater and serious actors, or whatever you want to call them, and sort of commercial actors, and filmmaking and filmmaking styles. So it's nice when you get people from totally different walks in the same profession coming together, and I think it's a sign of the times also. And in future, these are the films, I mean, because the kind of formulaic Bollywood movies a bit, I don't want to do that anymore.
People don't like to use the word crossover films, but are you looking into something like that, where you want to do any Hollywood films at the same time?
I think America and Hollywood in particular have, always made like really special movies, and the ideas that are nurtured and created, and the artistic kind of license that people have, and the way films are approached. I mean, and Los Angeles in particular is the place. I mean, it doesn't get any bigger or better than this. So there is that side to it. But then on the other hand, it depends what you'd be offered and in what environment you'd be working, because there is a lot of money to be made. There's a huge audience in India. And if you're at the top of your game in your own country, then I think it boils down to whether you would be getting similar opportunities or not, really. So, yes, I would love it. I mean, if one could do and work in a extremely professional setup and develop the most interesting ideas, that would be fantastic. But at the same time, I do feel our film industry, the Indian film industry, is kind of a self-sustaining film industry, and it. Aside from Hong Kong, I think we are the only other one,
right,
where we don't actually need to cross over.
Speaking of Hollywood films, I mean, what's one of your favorites you've grown up with, saying, hey, you know what, I would have loved to work with this actor, or...
So many. I mean, on a more commercial level, I think practically any movie, Clint Eastwood is one of my favorite actors, or, films like Apocalypse Now or The Godfather, or... it's endless, really.
I know you're a fan of Clint Eastwood, because last time we did an interview with you, you did a promo for us, and you said, hey, this is Clint Eastwood, and you watched the show of India.
Yeah.
So that's something that you brought up right now. Is that one actor that you'd love to work with?
Well, also I just think the kind of films he's made as a director also kind of more gritty and more basic than kind of a lot of these techno-friendly and sort of computer-based stories. And yeah, I mean, I don't know if... Never really thought of myself in the same kind of bracket, or I would like to work with him, but he's just a filmmaker and an actor that I really admire for being just like this, everything's driven around that persona, which I find interesting.
Well, thank you very much for your time.